I'm Girish H, Associate Professor, Department of ECE, Cambridge Institute of Technology. In this video, I'm going to explain memory registers and aspects of system timing. That is Module 5 in VLSI design subject. So now we'll see about one transistor dynamic memory cell. Okay, previously we had seen three transistor dynamic memory cell. Okay, this is one transistor dynamic memory cell. Okay, here only one transistor is used. Okay, you can see one NMOS transistor is used here for performing memory operation. Right here, okay, we have used one capacitor CM. So this capacitor CM will be holding the data. Fine. Okay, we can store logic 1 or logic 0 in this capacitor. Right. Okay. So here you can see the gate of this NMOS transistor. Okay, the gate is connected to row select. Can you make out? Okay, gate of this NMOS transistor is connected to row select, and the drain of this NMOS transistor is connected to read or write line. Okay, this is the circuit arrangement. Clear? Okay. So here, okay, drain was connected to row select, read or write line, and the gate is connected to row select. Yeah, and the source is connected to a capacitor. So this is the circuit arrangement. Fine. Okay. Here, okay, this memory has only one transistor. Right. Okay, various approaches considered to reduce the area per bit requirements, and one such approach is one transistor cell. It basically consists of a capacitor CM, which can be charged during write here from the read or write line, provided that row select line is. The state of charge CM can be read subsequently by detecting the state of the charge via the same read or write line with the row select line again. And a sense amplifier of suitable nature can be designed to differentiate between stored 0 and stored 1. Okay. So now we'll try to analyze the working of this one transistor dynamic memory cell. Okay. Okay, one TDRAM cell means it is one transistor dynamic random access memory cell. Dynamic means volatile, it cannot store for longer duration. As long as this capacitor is holding the charge, only that much time your data will be stored. And you know that the MOS capacitors will be used. Those MOS capacitors can hold data for 1 millisecond or less than that. Afterwards, the data will be lost or it will be slowly drained. Fine. Okay. Fine. First, let us perform a write operation. Clear? Okay. For write operation, we need to have data. Okay. Let us assume that read or write line is having logic. Understood? No? Okay. Read or write line is made 1. Okay. So now I'll make row select as 1. Okay. Row select is also made. Getting it? If row select is made 1, what will happen? What will be the status of this NMOS transistor? It will be on or off? On alva. Okay, good. So now this transistor will be on. Okay, because the row select line is connected to the gate of this NMOS transistor. Okay, there is nothing but gate. Right. Okay, when we apply logic 1 to gate of NMOS transistor will be on. Now what will happen when NMOS transistor is on? Okay, whatever data you are giving to drain, okay, that will be passed. Right, since this NMOS transistor is on and RD/WR or read/write is logic 1. Okay, this data, okay, will be obtained. Okay, the current will flow like this. Okay, since channel is formed in this transistor, current will flow in this transistor. Okay, and okay, we'll get here. Okay, and it will charge this capacitor. Understood? No? Okay, if I make row select as 1, this NMOS will be on. If NMOS is on, whatever data you are giving for read or write line, that will be passed by this pass transistor, and this capacitor will be holding that particular data. If read or write is 1, then CM will be having 1. That's it. Okay, if read or write is 1, then CM will be having 1. Understood? No? Okay, if you have read or write as 0, 0 will be passed and this capacitor will be holding 0. That's it. Understood? No? Okay, in this way, we can try to perform write operation. So whatever data you have in read or write line, that will be sent via this transistor. That's it. Very simple. Clear? Next, no operation. So I don't want to perform write operation or read operation. For no operation, I'll make row select as 0. Okay. And here let read or write be 1 or 0. I'm not bothered about this. Right. Okay. If row select is made 0, then your NMOS transistor will be turned off. Correct? Okay. So if NMOS transistor is off, then there is no connection between capacitor and read or write. Yeah? Okay, if any logic was stored, okay, you'll get that logic. Okay, if you have stored logic 1, okay, then CM will be having 1, else CM will be 0. Right. Okay. So if previously you had stored logic 1, okay, then CM will be holding logic 1. Okay, if you have stored logic 0, then it will be holding logic 0. Understood? No? So this capacitor will be holding the data. Here I am not trying to perform read operation or write operation. For that, I'll make row select as 0. If I make row select as 0, then this transistor will be off. If this transistor is off, then there is no connection between the capacitor and this read or write line. Then whatever charge you had in this capacitor will be retained as it is. Okay, if you had logic 1, it will be holding logic 1. If you had logic 0, it will be holding logic 0. That's it. Got it? Fine. Okay. Done. Next, we'll perform read operation. Whatever data we had stored in this capacitor, that should be read. Clear? Okay. For read operation, again, I'll make row select as 1. I'll make row select as 1. That's right, huh? Okay, when row select is made 1, then this NMOS transistor will be on. Clear? When this NMOS transistor is on, whatever charge you had in this capacitor, that will be read. Okay, that will be available in this line. Getting it? Okay, if CM was 1, then read or write line will be having 1. Fine. Okay, if CM was 0, then the read or write line will be having 0. Understood, no? Okay, here by making row select as 1, we'll turn on this transistor. When this transistor is on, whatever charge you had in this capacitor, that will be read. Okay, your read or write line will be having the data. If CM was having 1, we'll get 1. If it was having 0, you get 0. Right? The current will flow from source to drain of this transistor and you'll get read or write is equal to 1 or 0. Okay, here you can use suitable sense amplifier to sense the data. Right? Okay, sense amplifier means two inverters will be connected back to back. Right? So two inverters will be connected back to back so that whatever data you had in this memory will be read. That's it. Okay. Because this capacitor can hold data for 1 millisecond. After 1 millisecond, it will be slowly decayed. No. Okay. If it has 5 volts here, slowly it will decay. And you also know that if you have charged this capacitor to 5 volts, the NMOS transistor can pass only 4 volts. You know that NMOS pass transistor is poor at passing logic 1. Okay, it will be degraded by threshold voltage. Okay, if threshold voltage is some 1 volt, okay, so I'll get 4 volts at the output of NMOS pass transistor. Right. Okay, here this capacitor will be slowly decaying. Okay, it may be 4 volts also. Okay, it may become 3 volts also. If you have some 4 volts, you'll get 3 volts here. If you have 3 volts here, you'll get 2. Right. Okay. So let us assume that we got 4 volts or even less than that. Okay. So you got some 3 volts, let us assume. Okay, because of the parasitic capacitance, some charge might have been decayed. Okay, you know that these are all the MOS layers, right? Okay, if this is some diffusion, below diffusion, you'll be having silicon dioxide. Below that, you'll be having substrate. Because of that parasitic capacitance, if the interconnect length, if the wire length is more, then it will decay or it will drop more, right? Okay, if you have 3 volts at the input, up to 1 volt also you can have. Up to 1 volt, your inverter can turn on, right? Let us assume that we have 3 volts here, we'll get 0 volts here. Inverter means whatever input you apply, that will be inverted. Again, it will be inverted, you'll get 5 volts. Right? This we call it as sense amplifier. Sense amplifier senses the data from the memory. Right? There is any charge decay, that will be boosted up to 5 volts. Right? Here, if you had stored 5 volts, we will get some 4 volts here. Because of the parasitic capacitance, you may get some 3 volts here. And that is inverted, you'll get 0 volts. Again, it is inverted, you'll get back 5 volts. Right? If there is any charge decay, that will be overcome. Okay, by this arrangement. Understood? No, two inverters which are connected back to back can get back your data properly. Right? If two inverters are connected back to back, one side you will be having 5 volts, the other side you will be having 0 volts. Right? Because of the circuit arrangement. Understood? No? So you can perform memory operation. Write, read operation. And if you don't want to perform any operation, you can leave it. Understood? No? Your data will be stored in this capacitor. Fine. And as usual, when we take memory cell, we'll have to draw the stick diagram, and we'll have to draw the layout diagram, right? And you have an idea how to draw the stick diagram and the layout diagram and all, right? So first we'll see how to draw stick diagram. Can use this circuit diagram for drawing the stick diagram. Am I audible now? Okay. Any doubt in memory operation? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. So now we'll see how to draw the stick diagram. Okay. It's very easy to draw the stick diagram. Okay. You have an idea how the NMOS transistor is fabricated, right? By crossing diffusion, poly will get transistor. That's it, right? Okay, that is the transistor. Okay. So here you can see there is nothing but gate. Gate means it's nothing but poly, right? Okay. And diffusion means, okay, it's nothing but n plus diffusion. Okay, there's nothing but n plus diffusion, right? And metal. Okay, for raw select we can use metal. That's it. And wherever contacts are required, you can make a contact. And you know how capacitor can be obtained. For capacitor also, okay, we can just cross a poly, right? By crossing poly or diffusion, we'll get a transistor. That transistor can be used as a capacitor too, right? Below poly, you'll be having silicon dioxide. Below that, you'll be having diffusion. Okay, because of that, you'll get a capacitor as well as transistor. Getting it? Okay. So here you can see how the stick diagram has been drawn. Okay, here one transistor is required. Okay, just draw a poly. Okay, poly is drawn. And here one poly is required. Poly is drawn. Can you make out? Poly is drawn. Poly is drawn. Right? And drain and source means it's nothing but diffusion. Okay, I'll draw n plus diffusion like this. For n plus diffusion, we'll use green color. For poly, we'll use red color. Yeah. Okay. And here, okay, the gate of this NMOS transistor is connected to a row select control line. Here, why I have drawn diffusion like this means, okay, in order to take the connection of read or write line. Okay, for that purpose, I have extended this diffusion. Read or write is another control signal. Fine. And for metal, okay, we'll take blue color. Okay, there's nothing but row select. And a contact is required, you can make a contact. That's it. Okay, so your stick diagram will be a replica of your circuit diagram only. Understood? No? Okay, I'll just repeat. Okay, this is nothing but diffusion. Okay, we'll draw diffusion. For drain and source, we'll use diffusion. And read or write line is taken from drain. Right? Okay, this is how we'll draw the diffusion. Done? And then poly is required. Wherever transistors are required, you cross poly, you'll get transistor. Here one transistor is there, here one transistor. Here for that, I have cross poly. And here a parallel plate capacitor is there. For that also, I'll cross poly. Okay, below poly we'll be having silicon dioxide. Below that, okay, we'll be having diffusion, or we'll be having substrate. Understood? No. Okay. So below poly we'll be having silicon dioxide. Below that we can run diffusion. Below that again silicon dioxide will be there. Below that again substrate will be there. Right? Okay. And metal. Okay, just draw the metal line like this, and that should be connected to the gate. Yeah. Okay. So in this way, we can draw the stick diagram. Done. So next, I'll draw the layout diagram. Just see how the layout diagram is drawn. This is the mirrored one. Okay, the mirrored one. Okay. Okay. So I'll be drawing the layout diagram. So first, I'll draw the diffusion. Okay, there's nothing but the diffusion. Okay, I have drawn diffusion. Okay, for diffusion, we'll use green color. Right. Okay, there's also the diffusion. For diffusion, we'll use green color. Right. Here, n plus diffusion is connected to read or write line. Getting it? Okay, you know how the diffusion will be shaded. Clear? Next, we'll have to draw the poly. Okay, you draw the poly. Right? Okay, poly has been drawn. Here, okay, the color which is used for poly is red color. Done. Okay, by crossing poly or diffusion, we'll get transistor. Okay, so the transistor which is formed here, right? Okay, this is the transistor which is formed here. Okay, for poly we'll use red color, right? For diffusion we'll use green color, right? You know that by crossing poly or diffusion we'll get transistor. And one more, okay, capacitor is required. Okay, for that capacitor we'll cross poly. Okay, you know that poly should be shaded like this. Okay, this is the encoding, right, of poly. Or else, okay, if you have color, you can shade it completely. Done. Okay, there's nothing but CM capacitor. Fine. Okay, this is actually the CM capacitor. Now, what is required? A contact is required. Now, here. Now, we'll have to make a contact. So, here, we'll make a contact. Your poly should be connected to row select. Your poly should be connected to row select. For row select, we'll use metal. Here you can run the metal. Okay, here you can run the metal. For metal, we'll draw perpendicular lines. All right. So there is no connection here. Okay. Here below metal there is silicon dioxide. Below that we are running diffusion. There is no connection here. Here there is a contact. Okay, because I've used a contact. Okay, there's nothing but a contact. Fine. Okay. Understood? No. Did you get an idea how to draw the layout? Fine. Okay, you can see here there's nothing but row select. Okay, and this is nothing but row select. Okay, for row select we'll use metal, and a transistor is required. Here there is a poly, right? Here you just cross a poly. Fine. And diffusion is required. Okay, and you can draw the diffusion. Okay, there's nothing but diffusion. No, from here to here is a diffusion. and there is nothing but the diffusion. From here to here is the diffusion, right? And a poly is required. Here a poly is drawn for capacitor. Here a poly is drawn for the transistor, and a contact here. Clear? So hope you have understood how to draw the stick diagram and the layout diagram. Fine. So once the stick diagram and the layout diagram is drawn, what we'll do, we'll have to analyze this memory. Alva. What analysis we'll do? We'll have to consider three cases or three factors. What is that? Area. So once the layout is drawn, we'll get to know how much area is required, Alva. Okay. So once the layout is drawn, we'll get to know how much area is required, right? And based on that, we'll try to find area, power dissipation, and volatility. Right? So the area per bit stored, is 200 lambda square. Okay. So once the layout is drawn, we'll get to know how much area is required to store one bit of information. Right. So we'll get to know that it is 200 lambda square. And here we'll consider 5 micron technology. For 5 micron technology, your channel length L will be equal to 2 lambda, that will be equal to 5 micron. Okay, there are many technologies. In that, 5 micron is one of the technologies. We say that 5 micron technology, 2.5 micron technology, 2 micron technology, 1 micron technology, 0.8, 65 nanometer, 45 nanometer, 25 nanometer, 14 nanometer, 7 nanometer, like that. Okay. That is nothing but distance between drain and source, which is nothing but the channel length. Fine. When we consider 5 micron technology, your channel length will be 2 lambda. That will be equal to 5 micron technology. Then lambda will be equal to 5 micron divided by 2. You will get 2.5 micrometer. Got it? Okay. So you can substitute lambda is equal to 2.5 micrometer for this lambda. Okay. 200 into 2.5 micrometer square, you'll get 200 into 6.25 micrometer square, that is nothing but 1250 micrometer square. Right. So this much area is required to store one bit of information. Got it? Okay. So if I can store one bit in this area, then how many bits you can store in 4mm by 4mm chip? Okay, that you know, right? Okay. So here for 1250 micrometer square, I can store one bit of information. Okay, therefore, if you are given an area of 4 mm into 4 mm, then how many bits you can store? Fine. just cross multiply, right? 4 mm into 4 mm into 1 bit divided by 1250 micrometer square. That's it, right? 4 into 10 power minus 3 meter into 4 into 10 power minus 3 meter into 1 bit divided by 1250 into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter whole square. Right? 10 to the power of minus 6 into 10 to the power minus 6. 2 micrometers are there. Okay. So if you simplify, you'll get 12 kilobits of information. Okay. So this is the memory which can store more number of bits. No, you can store 12 kilobits. Right? Okay. Here we are just comparing the memories. Okay. So in this memory, we could able to store 12 kilobits of memory. 12 kilobits. If you take 3 transistor memory cell, we can store 4.8 kilobits of information, right? And if I take the dynamic shift register, I can store 1.2 kilobits. This is with respect to CMOS dynamic shift register. Okay, if I take NMOS dynamic shift register, I can store 2.1 kilobits. You're getting an idea now what we are trying to do. We are designing different memory elements. Here we are considering 3 different factors: area, power dissipation, volatility. Understood? No? In case of NMOS dynamic shift register, we can store 2.1 kilobits. Okay, power dissipation we have calculated. And in case of CMOS, 1.2 kilobits. Power dissipation we had calculated. And volatility, we can store for 1 millisecond. Okay, whatever memory elements we have discussed, they can store only for 1 millisecond. Right, all are dynamic memory, alva. 3 transistor memory is also dynamic. 1 transistor memory cell is also dynamic. Right, it can store only for 1 millisecond. Afterwards, the charge will be slowly decayed and will be lost. Fine. Okay. So this memory can store 12 kilobits if you are given an IC chip whose dimension is 4 mm by 4 mm. Artha aita? Okay. Power dissipation. There is no dynamic power dissipation or static power dissipation in this. There will be only switching power dissipation. Whenever transistor is on, during that time power will be wasted. Alva. So here, when this NMOS is on, so then only power will be dissipated. So there is a switching power dissipation while storing logic 1 and logic 0 in order to communicate between read and write operation. Whenever we make the NMOS transistor on, that time switching power dissipation will be there. Yeah? Done. And volatility, volatility means how long it can store on. The leakage current mechanism will decrease the charge, storage, and capacitor. And therefore, data will be held for a minimum of 1 millisecond or less. It requires a periodic refresh in order to rewrite the logic during read operation. Understood? No. Here, where there will be a parasitic capacitance. Okay. You know that, okay, here there is source diffusion, alva. So there is a source diffusion. There's nothing but a wire, right? Okay, here you would have used diffusion. Okay, below diffusion, you'll be having silicon dioxide. Below that, you'll be having substrate, right? Okay, this wire will also have some parasitic capacitance. Because of that, the charge which is stored in this capacitor may be decayed. Right. Okay. A capacitor means if you charge and keep it, will it hold for longer duration? If it doesn't have any means for charging, then it will drain, obviously, right? Okay. So this capacitor will decay within 1 millisecond. Before 1 millisecond, you should have a mechanism either to charge this capacitor, or else by making rho select is equal to 1, you can try to store new data. Or else you can try to read the data which is stored from this capacitor. Right. For both read and write, this row select should be 1 only, right? If row select is 1, whatever data you have in read or write line will be stored in this capacitor. If there is no data in read or write line, whatever data you have in this capacitor, that will be read. That's it. Simple memory element. Right. So this cannot be used because there is no mechanism to hold the data longer duration. Right. Once the data is read from this memory, it will be lost. That's a drawback of this memory. Right. If you have stored 5 volts or 4 volts here, so once this 4 volts is transferred here, this will become 0. So that's a drawback in this memory cell. The charge will be completely transferred. It will not hold. That's a drawback in this capacitor or in this memory. So once you read, your data will be lost. Every time you need to write and then read. Otherwise, your data will be lost. Fine. Okay. This is about one transistor dynamic RAM cell. Thank you.